The Sam K Show.
Okay, now through this podcast, I want people to feel that feeling of being on top of a peak. I want you to, for a minute, make people actually believe that they are on the highest peak in the world, Mount Everest or Makalu or Choyu, whichever. What does it look like? What does it feel like around you? And what is that feeling?
For a layman, see, obviously it might all seem same, right? Life above 8,000 meters, but there are a couple of things which are obviously very crazily repeating on all the 8,000 meter mountains. Obviously,
you've sat at the summit.
Yes, when you're sitting at 29,035 feet, the very roof of this world, it's a different feeling. Life above 8,000 meters is very different. I still remember, like, when I summited Everest for the first time, seeing the earth bend in front of you, right? Being able to see the curvature of earth itself was crazy. When we're talking about these 8,000 meter peaks, they are the largest. We can almost call them like the largest living animals which rise above the crust of this earth, right? There's nothing more bigger than this.
You are actually on those peaks, sitting there. What does it feel like? That's what I want to know.
See, when you make it to the top, there is like a whole list of checklists in your head things which you have to get done, check, and start heading back down as well. Because you're on a timer. If you're using supplementary oxygen, and if your oxygen runs out, as easy as it looks while even descending a mountain, coming down also becomes very difficult. You can barely even take 2 or 3 steps if you run out of oxygen. So you're on a timer, you're quick, you have to save your battery, you have to save your resources and start heading down as well, because it's only halfway to the top. Right? So survival is necessary. You cannot get late. If the evening happens and if a storm comes in, you're going to die. You just cannot give up. So,
but how long do you spend on that peak?
Hardly. We end up spending hardly 15 to 20 minutes on the summit.
Bas.
Right? But those 15 to 20 minutes are enough to last, I think, a real mountain lover a lifetime.
Your favorite peak? Which one?
Definitely Everest. It was the first one, and it will always be very special to me.
Can you call? Is there satellite phone jo chalega wahan se?
Satellite phones do work, but we keep them for emergencies. We keep them if the weather is clear, if you've been able to save the battery. It depends on a lot of factors whether your satellite phone also lasts all the way to the summit. The only source of heat in those environments where temperatures are going down to -60, -70, you have to keep everything inside your down suit.
If you don't mind me asking, what is your weight? What is your weight without the down? What is your current weight right now?
71 kgs.
71.
Right. So what you were saying, I would quickly want to come back to that you want to give a call from the summit and all of these things. ऐसा कुछ नहीं आता दिमाग में, because see, I always tell this thing to people that I like to climb the mountains outside. Most of the times it's just the mind which you have to convince, but your body is actually much more stronger than what we can even imagine. So this is the kind of mindset which you're in, right? When you can see 1/3 of the oxygen levels of what we breathe out here, right? Temperatures seeping down crazily.
Us samay bhi, at the summit, at the peak, you're thinking survival, huh? That's your first thought?
Well, quite honestly, yes, because there is this sense of euphoria. You've been training for this moment for such a long time. And every time you attempt an 8,000 meter peak and you come back, you're completely finished, right? So every time you go back, you have to start from the very scratch. So it's a very tedious process to be able to make it to the top of a mountain. So definitely the top is very addictive, right? It's very good for your ego.
Do you feel relief?
No, the brain does not stop working at the summit, because the summit is only halfway to the top, right?
Yeah, absolutely correct. Acha, ek aur cheez batao. Have you ever put the flag of India on the summit?
So this is a very one of the most asked questions ever. That did you plant the Indian flag on the summit? So I generally try to hold it upwards like this, and it unfurls right over my head. Unfortunately, when it gets too windy, it gets very difficult. Like once on the summit of Manaslu, most of my summit pictures had come out with the Indian flag upside down, because the wind was flowing from down the mountain. So I was holding it from the top, and the flag went upside down, and my Sherpa took those pictures, and my camera died. What can be done, right? Nature is nature, and we all have to comply with it. And so, answering your question, we do not plant the flag, but we unfurl it, and I think it's a beautiful feering to be able to
it must be
represent your country.
Chaliye, let's move to an unfortunate truth when it comes to mountaineering.